Plans are heating up for the CityCast Portland 503-Day Block Party, coming up on Saturday, May 3rd in downtown Portland's Ankeny Alley. We'll be kicking things off with a drag story hour and a dance party for the kiddos. You can dress to impress and win prizes in the Portland Icons Costume Contest and catch surprise local celebrities doing live band karaoke. We're going to cap it all off with an official 503-day proclamation with city leaders at 5:03 p.m. It's a totally real holiday, and it's totally free. Find more information on our website, portland.citycast.fm. Today on CityCast Portland, we're doing a neighborhood guide where we talk with Portlanders about the good, the bad, and the ugly of where they live. This time, we're talking about Southeast Portland's Westmoreland and Eastmoreland neighborhoods. Joining us is Eastmoreland resident and Willamette Week arts and culture reporter Rachel Saslow. It's Monday, April 14th. I'm executive producer John Notariani in for Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. So we're talking about your neighborhood. Before we get into the specific spots that you think people should check out, tell us what the boundaries are of Westmoreland and Eastmoreland, because it's a double neighborhood.
Yeah, this is not a double episode, but we are doing a double neighborhood. So Eastmoreland, the boundaries are pretty straightforward. It's bordered by Southeast Cesar Chavez, by Woodstock Boulevard, Crystal Springs Boulevard, and 27th. Some of the landmarks near Eastmoreland are the Eastmoreland Golf Course, which is a city-owned golf course, and Reed College. So it's like a little pocket kind of hemmed in by those things. And then as for the borders of Westmoreland, I do not want to start a fight. So I'm going to tread...
You're like, I have to live here.
I'm going to tread very carefully in explaining the borders of Westmoreland, because they are a little bit harder to suss out, because it's more in the city, like Brooklyn's right there, like the Brooklyn neighborhood's right there. The Sellwood neighborhood is right there. So I don't want to mess up exactly where Brooklyn and Sellwood start and Westmoreland ends. But as far as I can tell from living here, Westmoreland's borders are between the Willamette River, McLaughlin Boulevard, and sort of Brooklyn and Sellwood. So in the heart of Westmoreland is Milwaukee Avenue. That's like its little historic main street. Does that help?
I love the way you're dodging there. You're like, Westmoreland ends where Brooklyn and Sellwood begin.
Okay.
And to each their own on where exactly that border is. Though I think that's a very diplomatic way to say it.
Okay, I'm going to be really bold and say that Brooklyn and Westmoreland are divided by Holgate.
Okay.
Please don't come at me, anyone. But that's the best I can tell.
Okay, so basically we're kind of like straddling McLaughlin, Eastmoreland on the east, Westmoreland on the west, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're dealing with I don't want to keep saying Westmoreland and Eastmoreland throughout this entire episode. Can we just call them colloquially the Morelands?
Sure.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, that totally works for me. I mean, people call the neighborhoods Sellwood Moreland, so I think that is a word people use.
Okay, cool. So give me your best pitch for the Morelands. What do you love about living in this area?
I love it so much. I love how we are close to downtown. It's easy to commute everywhere, but it's really its own little ecosystem. It's its own little pocket. Eastmoreland in particular has one of the most substantial tree canopies in all of Portland, and the houses are all really different from each other. So just walking through it is super gorgeous. You're right next to the Reed College campus. And they have a pretty elaborate system of hiking trails and all of the things you get from being near a college campus, like lectures and all of those things. We have gardens, we have a golf course. I mean, it's very idyllic in some ways. I will say that when I moved to Eastmoreland from Washington, D.C., I was worried it was going to be too quiet, because Eastmoreland in particular, nobody really goes to Eastmoreland unless, nobody cuts through Eastmoreland. It's a little bit secluded. And so there's not like a lot happening. There's a lot happening for the people who live there, but it's not like there's a lot of commerce and cool events and restaurants and things like that. Eastmoreland in particular is very residential and pretty quiet, which I have sort of aged into. But when I was younger, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go.
Because I will say, when this came up that we were talking about Eastmoreland and Westmoreland, my first take was like, wait, like Sellwood? And I mean, I'd be like, no, not Sellwood. This is its whole own sort of ecosystem of lovely houses and residential neighborhoods.
Yeah, we're really just focusing on the Morelands here. But Eastmoreland, I do not think we could fill this episode with Eastmoreland because it's not zoned for commerce. It's very residential. And so I think it's wise that we incorporate Westmoreland, especially because that is where we go for all of our services. That's where our coffee shop is, where our, all of the things, our grocery store, our dentist, all the things are in Westmoreland. So that is a short walk up Bybee. You cross over the Bybee Bridge and McLaughlin's underneath you. And then you go up Bybee and then you're at like Milwaukee and 17th. And that's where all of the restaurants and shops and things that I'm going to be talking about are pretty much in Westmoreland.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's beautiful. It's idyllic. I heard Halloween's a big deal. What's that all about?
Okay, so I don't think people should move to a neighborhood just for Halloween. But if you were going to make your real estate decisions based on Halloween, I think Eastmoreland is where you would choose. Because it's a destination Halloween neighborhood. So you know how if your neighborhood for whatever reason isn't great for Halloween, like no sidewalks, houses are super far apart. There's lots of reasons that or it's too urban, like it's all, like you can't get to a lot of houses. Mm-hmm. People will drive to another neighborhood that is better set up for Halloween. Eastmoreland is particularly Reed College Place, which is sort of our center strip down the neighborhood, is a Halloween destination. And people come from all over the city. My friends who live on that street have to buy all their candy at Costco. They don't even answer the door. They just have like little tents set up in their front yards to give out candy as fast as possible because the lines of children are so long.
Yeah.
So it's very fun.
So like idyllic housing, big Halloween boom. I gotta say, this is giving me like first scene of a horror movie vibes where like everything is beautiful and perfect and like the kids are out playing, but
I don't usually get horror, but I do sometimes get like Stepford Sci-Fi. Like occasionally it does feel a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from. I don't usually get scared in my neighborhood, but there is something a little bit. I mean, when people come visit us from out of town, there is something a little bit old-fashioned about the neighborhood.
You're like, where did this place come from? Why is it?
Well, it's like, why is it still this way? Like our mail carrier puts letters in our little like antique mail slot in our house. And then we're like, thanks, Matt. Good to see you, Matt. And everyone knows him. And he comes to the block party. And like my friends who live a few blocks over, I know that their mail carrier is named Bruno. Like it's so tight knit and old fashioned in some ways that I really, as a parent of 3, I really cherish it.
But that sounds really nice.
It's amazing.
Okay, well, I won't harp on the horror movie idea.
That
was just me. Rachel didn't say it, but we've talked about the positives, about how beautiful it is. Like, what are your gripes about your neighborhood? Like, what is it that bugs you about Westmoreland, Eastmoreland?
My gripe is that I can't easily walk out to a coffee shop. That's a rough one. I can walk out to my kids' school. It's a block and a half away. That has paid huge dividends for us over the last 10 years. Yeah. But I can't walk out and easily run any errands or get coffee. So from Eastmoreland to Westmoreland is very car dependent in a way that sucks. I also think that lack of diversity is a big bummer and a big downside of the neighborhood. I actually haven't lived anywhere else in Portland as an adult, only as a kid. So I can't really compare it to know how much of a problem this is with the Morelands versus just Portland in general. But it is something, especially coming from Washington, D.C., that I notice and is disappointing.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who's lived in other neighborhoods in Portland, it's an issue in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I figure. I mean, I've seen the statistics.
You're like, I know.
But you can feel it like really viscerally.
Yeah, well, I want to get to some of the recommendations you have for your neighborhood, but first let's take a quick break.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. We've all set health goals: lose weight, exercise more, eat better. But without a plan, those goals often fade. That may have happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. And that's where Prolon comes in. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. And now Prolon is upping their game with the new next-gen 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. Next Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. Developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top U.S. medical centers, Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. I've been doing the 5-day program, and I feel so much better. I really enjoy the tasty energy bars, the snacks and soups, and the fact that I can enjoy meals, even though the calorie count is super low. The flavors and textures are excellent. An olive oil snack here, broccoli and quinoa soup there, hibiscus tea, a yummy nut bar. It's got the benefits of a 5-day fast, but doesn't have the challenge of doing it with pure liquids. It's a system reset. And also, I know this sounds funny, but it's not. The packaging and directions are fantastic, clear, and well organized and thoughtful. For a limited time, you can be first in line to experience the new Next Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering CityCast listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/city. That's PROLONLIFE.com/city to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/city.
This episode is brought to you by the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. With a twin-turbo V6 engine ready to propel your adventures, up to 8,500 pounds of towing capacity to haul all your favorite toys, and space for 8 passengers, Nissan's most powerful car yet will chew up and spit out anything you throw at it. Learn more about the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada at nissanusa.com. Towing capacity varies by configuration. See Nissan Towing Guide and Owner's Manual for additional information. Always secure cargo.
Well, when you're taking someone new and showing them around your neighborhood, like what are a couple places that are like the highlights of like, this is where I live? What are you going to be showing people on your newcomers tour?
Well, this is very Portland of me, but I would take them on a hike.
Heck yeah.
It's sort of like the ultimate Portland welcome is like, let me take you on my favorite hike. It's how we show our things. So I would hike through the Reed College Canyon and over to the Crystal Springs Rhododendron Garden, which are both just so great. I'm so lucky to have them nearby. Perhaps you could walk down Reed College Place to get there underneath all the linden trees. Maybe they will be in bloom and smell amazing. I mean, the gifts just keep on giving. And then if it was somebody who was coming from maybe a city, I would take them shopping. We are close enough to Sellwood that we still have that like vintage store antique vibe. And so we have Stars Antiques right on Milwaukee, and that's just a total treasure trove. There's a million little independent shops. My kids want me to shout out Silly Daisy and Oodle's Toy Store, and I can vouch for them as well. But there's just, it's so cool that they have all these places to shop that are not chains. It's just really, there's a lot of places to support independent businesses, to get coffee, to get a good meal, to just like pop in and out of a lot of different places quickly. I would take someone shopping. And then in Westmoreland, I would say sort of an institution and what people sometimes come in for is Saburo's, which is a sushi place that is known for its very generous quantities. So if you love sushi, but you're on a budget, this is your spot. There's a line that forms out the door. I It's so constant that I've kind of stopped seeing it, but I think it's all the time. Like, I think it's during all of its operating hours on every single day. But they keep the sushi moving. Like, you can, you'll still get in and out, even though there's a line.
I think you've identified like 3 ways to tell which neighborhood you're from in Portland, which is what's your go-to hike? Where do you go to see flowers? And what's your like neighborhood sushi spot, right?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like very North Portland. I'm very much like Peninsula Park is where the flowers are.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Where would you take someone on the perfect date? Like date night, the kids are taken care of.
Okay, we actually have a cool restaurant. This does not happen very often since I've lived here that we get a cool restaurant, but we have one. It's happening right now. It's called Monty's Red Sauce. About a year ago, we had Montelupo's, which was a focaccia place just up on Bybee. And then that became wildly popular. And now they have expanded to a sit-down red sauce Italian restaurant that is very, like, people are like trying to get in. This is very new and exciting for us to have like a cool restaurant. So I would say Monty's Red Sauce is probably where you'd want to eat right now. Either right next door or maybe one storefront over is the Moreland Theater, which is a old Art Deco movie theater, one screen. So freaking cool.
That is the other, like, what's your neighborhood movie theater? And you have one too.
We have one.
The Morelands have everything.
Well, and Portland is so awesome that a lot of neighborhoods still have their neighborhood movie theater. It's so special. It's just one screen. I can walk there. They only show one movie at a time for that week. I love it so much. Just very cool, like old details. Like they have a balcony. There's a crying room in the back. I never.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's like, I think it's for like when, I don't know what happened in like the 20s and 30s, but I think it's for like when people would bring children and they'd get too rowdy and you'd have to like take them out of the theater. Or people would be just like overcome with emotion and have to like go to the crying room. I don't know which it is, but I am fascinated by it. And I think it's very interesting.
Okay, now I have questions. Have you been to the crying room?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like, is there space for a lot of people or is it sort of like a solo space? I'm just wondering if this is for like group crying, like if there's going to be a lot of people in there crying all together.
You could fit like one family. It's like so the bathrooms are up. You have to go upstairs to the balcony past the crying room.
Yeah. And
so everyone has been past it. It's like just a small little viewing area. And there's a big window so you can still keep watching the movie.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's amazing. Hopefully not for a date. Hopefully you don't need the crying room on your big date.
I have just gone on a detour just thinking about the Moreland Theater.
And just in case your date doesn't go well. They have the crying room.
I mean, that's a real worst case scenario. Okay. And then keeping the date moving. Next, I would say we would go to Bible Club, which is a great church-themed vintage bar. It is one of my very favorite bars in the neighborhood. It's a cocktail bar with like a historic, it's really like a church and Bible themed decor. And I'm a Jewish girl, and I still love this bar so much. So it appeals to many, regardless of your past church affiliations.
Yeah, Bible Club I have been to, and I will say, you know, there's a lot of bars, especially over the last like 10 or 15 years, that have sort of been trying to do the speakeasy thing, being like, oh, we're a speakeasy. They are nailing it. Like the level of detail in the decor, in the art, in like the glassware. They have like the most beautiful glasses that you've ever seen. Like they are not getting these from whatever restaurant supply place. They really go the extra mile on those details.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the amount of time and energy they must have spent hunting down all these antiques for this bar is incredible. And in the summertime, they put up a tent over the back patio and they call it Revival, which I always think is just so clever. And the food's good and they have concerts back there that I've been to. And it's just like, I love that bar.
Oh, yeah. This is one of the places I have been to down there.
Nice.
Although not that often, because, again, cocktails, drive from North Portland down to the Bible Club.
Yeah.
You might want to get an Uber. But okay, I've never been down for this summer patio. This sounds like a must-do. Live music, Friday, Saturday nights, 6:30 to 9:30. Yeah. I'm going to check that out. Okay, well, we've hit some of the like big marquee highlights. What about just local spots? Like, where are like the day-to-day people in the neighborhood hanging out? Where are you going to see your neighbors?
Okay, so the local bar, I mean, we all go to Bible Club, of course, but those are not every night prices. So the locals are at Kay's, which is a bar that is so old. I think it's like 100 years old. And the locals, we are in the corner booth. Actually, you can be in any booth. I love Kay's so much. Strong pours, rosemary fries, lots of gossip flying all over the bar. Blazer games are on. It's just, I love Kay's. It's like a really great local watering hole.
Gotta say, on the Kay's website, though, a Sellwood institution since 1934. But then it says it is just down the street from the Moreland Theater. So
I know. See what I told you? These boundaries are extremely contentious. Okay. And I do think people use the Sellwood neighborhood as sort of a catch-all because it's a little bit more familiar to people outside of the neighborhood.
Yeah, but this spot looks great. I've never been in here, but just looking at it, it's like, yeah, this is a neighborhood joint.
For sure.
All right, where else?
Okay, going back outside again. Westmoreland Nature Park is sort of a destination park and playground for parents with young kids because the city invested a ton of money in it like a decade ago. And it's a playground, but it's with all natural materials. Sandbox isn't even the word. It's like a whole sand landscape with like water features, and the city provides shovels and pails and trucks.
Oh my gosh, this looks so cool.
It's amazing. And little trees. And then they have climbing structures, but they're made of logs that are like well sanded so no one's getting splinters. And it is just, when my kids were that age, which I would say for this park is like toddlers up to 7. I mean, it was just such a crowd pleaser. They loved it so much. And it's just a really special park.
Yeah. I'm looking at photos. I could totally see like a 6-year-old just going crazy here.
Yeah, and now that my kids are older, that's where their baseball games are. And Rose Festival does their like little milk carton races on the pond there every spring. So it's a pretty cool spot.
Awesome. I love it.
And then my other spot for locals is we have our own gigantic brewing. And I know there's one on Hawthorne, but we have our own in the Morelands, which is on Southeast 26th. I'm going to go 26th. Okay. It's right past the rhododendron garden and the Reed campus. And it's kind of tucked back there, but it's just a great spot. And they also have live comedy there. They have a really good comedy show that I've been to that's free. They have trivia nights back there. It's a really fun bar with obviously super good beer because Gigantic definitely knows what it's doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, thanks so much for showing us around. I learned a ton about the Morelands in this conversation. So thanks for taking me on the tour.
Good. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. And everyone out there, we want to hear your picks too. This is not the end all be all, of course. And I'm sure that there's a lot of places that you love that we missed. More fights to have about the borders of the neighborhoods. We want to hear all of it. So hit us up, send us an email, portland@citycast.fm. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's all for us today here on CityCast Portland, but as always, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell one of your friends about it or leave us a rating or a review? We'll be back tomorrow with much more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.